you will end up in a federal prison. Congress will act. Congress will flip. And you will be held accountable for the crimes that you commit today, tomorrow, and the next day until this is over.
Like Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Memphis, Portland is now in President Donald Trump's crosshairs. Trump said he's sending troops to protect Portland and any other ICE facilities from Antifa attacks. In a statement, Portland's mayor said no troops are needed in his city. And local elected officials in Washington are responding. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell said on social media, "I've spoken to Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and offered my support and Seattle's collective support. Trump's threats against American cities are illegal, authoritarian, and an attempt to silence free speech and intimidate the American people. We stand united." U.S. Senator Patty Murray said, "Portland is a beautiful and vibrant city. It is not a war zone. The president needs to keep the military out of the Pacific Northwest. This is yet another abuse of power. Leaders across America in government, business, everywhere need to push back." Like Los Angeles.
Yeah, so I don't get what everybody's saying. Oh, he's authoritarian. All governments are authoritarian. Even teachers, they teach from the power of authority. They are authoritarian by definition. It's kind of silly to me. And, I'm all for the National Guard, being in cities more. I just say the more good people we have on the streets looking out for all the good citizens, the better it is. So, I think it's a good thing.
As soon as somebody finds out that they're not on your side, they begin to chase each other. Everybody is running that way. There seems like a mosh pit just started. I got my picture taken, and it was really nice.
So over there, one woman was looking to probably de-escalate despite that she was live streaming, probably like most people. And then as a result, they kept pushing on her. And then eventually she had to go back and walk back with her boyfriend defending her with the skateboard. And then that's where it escalated to where twice, maybe 3 times, one around that very area where the guy had gotten maced. And then a second time just around here. In fact, they even started just throwing cans at one of the random cars even after the fact, so a little bit of vandalism after the fact just to get an edge on. And then what they did was they threw one of the beer bottles at them, or maybe they in turn were just throwing in and being raucousy. Then over here, that's where you can see the window that was smashed because they kept chasing after, even after the press guy apparently had told them not to, so unfortunately it looked like the black bloc had basically escalated in this case because the woman was in a sitting position like this. So when they got up, they were kind of like, basically it wasn't very helpful, even though the same thing would be demonstrated up there when ICE decide that they would sit in that position. But the fact the very people that were the ones that were escalating with the woman live streaming and her boyfriend would sit and claim that's de-escalation in order to keep from being moved. So it's ironic given that then they decide to push on her by blocking with a sign and aggressive stance in order to force her. Eventually the boyfriend was kind of doing this with his back to them with his skateboard and so on. But then that's when they continued until he had apparently probably had maybe gone into basic brawling with them, but only because they kept pursuing them and escalating, while the woman already demonstrated that she was basically sitting down and was, while they were ordering her to leave, and she was live streaming with no problem at all. But then they started getting on a frenzy at her for whatever reason. They had an argument, but afterward then she was chased, and their vehicle was parked right there, and they were parked and they started hitting the back left windshield. At this point, it is safe to say the guy was maced over there because he had to get water on his eyes. Yeah. Other than that, it's very hard to see any aggression except from winds over here. That's when the vehicle was getting smashed. Yeah, it does look like it was on their part where they escalated, even though she had been in a sitting position that to them is very usual. That is de-escalatory. Oh, okay. But even then, it was on the curb.
Yelled at and
So, I actually saw a video earlier today from somebody else. I wish I could find it, show it to y'all, but the woman thought that the protesters that she was there protesting with, because she was on their side, she thought that they were going to treat her like the cops treat them, where she could just sit down and they just leave her alone. But that's not how it happened. And, they ended up attacking. And the lady stole his skateboard. They actually broke the windows out of the car. And it all started because she was there protesting with them, but she just didn't like that they were burning the American flag. She was like, why are you burning the American flag? It's like, you shouldn't do that, because if you don't stand for something, you're standing for nothing, or something like that, she said. And it's just kind of crazy how she disagreed with one thing, and they all turned on her and her boyfriend. And yeah, they broke the windows out of his car. They attacked them. The boyfriend had cuts and scrapes all over him and stuff. It was crazy.
The Portland Organized Facility is a hot spot right now for craziness. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's helicopters swarming the place. There's federal agents everywhere. There's rioters. There's protesters. And it seems like every major indie journalist is down in Portland right now. I've been watching some of the coverage from Honey Badger and from Katie Daviscore and Brandy Cruz and Nick Shirley. And it's getting a little wild down there, guys. But I think we're finally seeing a strong federal response to a lot of the crazy anarchy, far left, woke, right? Just batshit out there people who are antagonizing law enforcement, antagonizing federal agents, wreaking havoc across cities, totally just disrupting the peace throughout entire neighborhoods in Portland, Oregon. And, a lot of the response from the Trump administration, honestly, you have to give credit. You have to give credit to these local journalists who are out there covering this, because no one else is, okay? But either way, I just want to say shout out to all the badasses down there right now on the street. Y'all stay safe, and anyone that's not paying attention to what's going on at the ICE facility, go check it out. It's bananas right now.
Yeah, I gotta say, definitely a shout out to the Honey Badger and the Davenport lady or wherever it is. Yeah, they're down there every night, and I feel bad for them because they're just there trying to record. They're not trying to stop them from doing anything. They're not trying to do anything to anybody except for record, to report what's going on. And they have been attacked many times, and not just attacked, but they try to do other things. They'll take the megaphones and start trying to scream in your ear. They'll do all sorts of stuff, try to hurt your ears. They'll put bright lights in your eyes. They'll put the strobes in your eyes. And it's like, no, all of that I still consider assault. You're doing something that could hurt somebody physically, and it could be permanent. So I consider that assault. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Alright, so this is from 7 hours ago. from Faceless Nature about breaking news, talking about what's going to be going on tonight. Today is the 29th of September, so they're apparently gearing up for some stuff tonight.
In Portland, Antifa is gearing up for a massive protest tonight at the ICE facility there. A flyer is circulating online urging people to rally against President Trump's order that deploys troops to the city to protect ICE facilities against violent rioters. Christina Coleman is live with the latest. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Tommy. Yes, more protests are expected tonight in Portland after the president announced he plans to send federal troops there. Yesterday on Truth Social, the president wrote, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. We have the full screen there that President Trump put out. There you go. So he said, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I'm directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I am also authorizing full force if necessary. Now, this announcement got swift pushback from some of Oregon's Democratic leaders. Take a listen.
The president will not find lawlessness or violence here. If President Trump came to Portland today, what he would find is people riding their bikes, playing sports, enjoying the sunshine.
It's pretty outrageous to see what the president is saying about Portland. It is all based on lies. This is not a war-ravaged city. It's pretty outrageous that this gross abuse of power, calling in the military.
But the officials within the Trump administration clearly feel differently. Portland is one of a number of cities nationwide where there's been ongoing protests against the president's crackdown on illegal immigration. And some of those demonstrations have turned very violent with clashes between anti-ICE rioters and federal agents. There's been a dramatic rise in assaults against ICE agents nationwide compared to the same time last year. Democratic lawmakers from Oregon think adding more troops to the mix is going to make the situation worse.
Trump is sending troops to Portland with the goal of, quote, doing a number on the city. And we know what this means. He wants to stoke fear and chaos and trigger violent interactions and riots to justify expanded authoritarian control. Let's not take the bait. Portland is peaceful and strong, and we will take care of each other.
Well, we'll see how things play out tonight. Again, more protests are planned for outside the ICE facility in Portland this evening. Tommy?
Christina Coleman, thank you so much. I'm going to open it out to the table now to have a little discussion about, let's talk about Portland first, Joey, because we just came off of that, and I was just stunned by those leaders in Portland. We saw it yesterday, too. Everything's fine here. We don't need help. You're going to come, and you're going to cause the problem. It's the same thing that Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom said in California after people were rioting for days, lighting things on fire, causing destruction to businesses. But yet again, you have the leaders that say, we don't want help. Don't come here. You will cause the problem. And I'm just wondering, to continue our discussion from yesterday, at what point do the citizens of Portland say, no, we're kind of sick of being antagonized by Antifa and all of this ruckus, and we would like some law and order?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is they're kind of glossing over the issue. So Trump is sending support there to help with the ICE operations in the ICE facilities there, which are currently under some sort of siege protest. There's a report, I didn't hear if Christina got to it, that potentially some of these protesters are found with guns on their person. Mm-hmm. And so Trump is specifically sending support for these ICE operations. I think what they're doing is they're kind of ignoring the ICE part and saying, oh, but our city's not in, we don't have CHOP or whatever it was, Chaz again. And so maybe their crime statistics are down a tick, but that's not why they're going there. Unfortunately, they're not even getting to go there to help make the city safe. They're going there to protect federal agents enacting federal law who are essentially under attack. And apparently the local law enforcement is not allowed to help them.
But Anita, it's still an incredible deterrent, because when you know that these facilities are going to be fortified, they're going to have extra help, I would think that that would send a loud and clear message to Antifa and the rest of these folks out there that want to cause anarchy and chaos. Hey, you come and you try to do this, it's not going to be so easy as the last time you tried to come and do this.
Well, you would think so. You would hope so. But, that remains to be seen, because, we're seeing these pictures day after day. And let me just say, these are not protests. These are not people carrying signs and chanting and making their voices heard. This is what they're doing. I'm going to read from the federal charging document. In one of the most serious ones, federal officers allege a protester used the pointed end of a protest sign wooden handle to attack the head of a U.S. Border Patrol officer who was trying to make an arrest. The incident cut the officer's ear. Another one, another protester threw a foot-long knife at an approaching officer during a June protest. So this is not protesting. These are attacks on federal officers. Let's call it what it is.
And there needs to be extra protection for those officers. We spoke to Tom Homan yesterday, Jason, and he said, President Trump has made it so clear to me and to my agents that they will be protected, that we're not going to leave you out there in the cold and the dust. We're going to make sure you have the protection that you need and you deserve. And I think that, and I would hope, that the folks in Portland who are not a member of Antifa or any of this, regardless of their views on immigration, I would hope that they would want these agents who are oftentimes members of their own community to be safe and protected.
Yeah, look, President Trump is doing exactly the right thing. He's protecting law-abiding citizens and federal assets. And these Democratic leaders who try to put this out there, oh, it's safe and we're all protected. Great. Then buy these guys some pizza and just say, hey, you're wasting your time here. But that's probably not what's going to happen tonight. They have foreshadowed that there's going to be violence and attacks, and nobody should have to put up with that. This is the United States of America. We're going to protect Americans, and we're going to protect our law enforcement. That's the right message. That's exactly what we need to do. And that's why President Trump is the most popular president we've ever had.
Yeah, Antifa is so used to getting away with everything in these deep blue cities, but not anymore. Not on President Trump's watch.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
So I don't know about all of Portland. I bet there is some parts of Portland that are okay and calm and stuff like that. But around the ICE facilities, yeah, what you see in the pictures, that's what it's been like for I don't know how long. It's been, what, months? And they're always like that. And the people in the apartments, they're like suing and stuff because of health issues, because they're having issues sleeping at night because of how loud it is outside. You know, the protesters have had homemade like sound devices that are meant to mess up your hearing permanently and stuff like that. They show people in those apartments like bleeding from the ears and stuff. You know, and not being able to get enough sleep because they're out there loud as hell every single night. You know, they got the tear gas seeping in their apartment. They can't, you know, have the windows open. It's crazy. It's just bad. Thanks for coming to Rational Review. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And we'll see you next time.